Don't want to shoot you first. That's smart. You don't want to take away from the please stand up. Give that smile up. And the Imam, your hands up here. Huh? You can make it, that's fine. Now you look like him, man. You should just look like him. I thought that was you. And all the youth group from Riverside, just helping on February 21st fundraising. They were really the initial spark to make the fundraising happen, plus our youth here in Temecula. And also I'd like to recognize Brother Abbas and Brother Malek. They have worked very hard to make sure this event comes together. Brother Adil, as he knows Brother Adil.
I'm here.
Really?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. And we saved the best to the last. We'd like to really special thanks to Imam Mabrouk, because if you look at our community almost before February of this year, I hate to say that, we really didn't have much for youth. We had the youth here, but we didn't have them galvanized in that fashion. I mean, it is really empowering to see the youth group coming together. And inshallah, you guys are the future leaders of this community. Some of you guys have gray hair, but you will someday. So I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank the sisters and every member of the SMTV community to make this event possible. And I also want to say a special thanks to Brother Mohammed thank you very much. I leave the floor to Brother Abbas and Imam. Thank you very much.
If all the brothers could please move up a little bit. If all the brothers could move again one time to the right. So the sisters on the left can move a little bit forward.
So all of you guys move this way so the sisters can have their space, inshallah.
And now all the sisters please move up. That way you guys have
So exactly what I think the brothers are waiting, inshallah, this is waiting. If the brothers can move over this way, just so we just get people out of this, inshallah. And this is one of the also gets all of them, inshallah. All of them, inshallah. Exactly what I think for your patience, I was getting the mic hooked up, and we start, inshallah. Exactly.
Assalamu alaikum. Alright, so the topic of the event today is article empowering our community. And we have 5 brothers here and speak on different topics that are different aspects of the topic that will lead towards us building a better community. We have brother Ustadh Abdullah from Temecula University. We have brother Khumasi from County, California. And we have brother Malek, who's all well known all over Southern California. If you don't know him, then get to know him. He works for the Shore Council, and he's one of the best youth counselors in California. Imam Mohamed Mabrouk, I haven't heard much about him, but I think he's the Imam of Temecula Valley. And we have brother Mohammed from San Diego, who's like the Donald Trump or the Muslim world, but not like Donald Trump. And each different speakers will be talking on different aspects. Like I was saying, the first topic is education. And that's Brother Ustadh Hamid from Zaytuna University, who lived in Morocco for about 13 years. And then he was a chaplain also for about 5 years in Pennsylvania. currently a lecturer at Temecula University. We've been talking for about 15-20 minutes on the topic of education.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. It's an honor to be here tonight. I guess I'm getting sort of this situation. Not that it's really that important, but I did spend 13 years in Morocco. I was there for 4 years, but I have been studying Islam pretty much my life. It's an honor to be invited not only to the lecture here, but to the area. I'm originally from the East Coast, from Pennsylvania, and I moved to the Bay in 2007. And prior to coming to teach at Temecula College, I worked as a full-time Islamic chaplain for a state correctional facility in Pennsylvania. And so coming here today, after spending about 5 years in the Bay, sort of brought back some very good memories of the time that I spent with some people that I grew very close to, people who were struggling with many different types of things. And I was very impressed to see the type of work that some of the youth are doing here with trying to help people in transition into Islam and out of addiction and out of the penitentiary system, or let's say the correctional facility system, correctional system, that's come here to witness a 19-year-old Mohamed, mashallah, who I expected. I was invited by him to come to the area. I never expected that he was so young to get such an early start. And then also to come here to the masjid and to see, we have an Imam here, another Imam, Mohamed, Mabrouk, mashallah, who I would say probably without him and his energy, we may have not even seen the sort of turnout that we see in terms of the youth. And along with that, but I think we can always know how much progress we're making as a community by the type of turnout we see from our youth into the dimension, because the youth can do many different things, as we know. But we see you come out to the masjid, come here to pray, come here to learn about Islam, to engage, interact, as opposed to being somewhere else, open a bar, whatever it may be. There are many different places that the youth can be. When we see the youth in the masjid, it's something very impressive. And Brother Malek, I was having a conversation with him a while ago, and first come to find out we have certain things that are sort of in common as well. In himself, he also used to work with the Department of Corrections, and I used to work with the Department of Corrections, and he has a multi sort of background. I lived in Morocco, even though his background is Algeria, but Algeria was originally part of Mabrouk as well. And then, of course, to share the stage on the table with others, Khumasi, a brother who's, I just told him that his song Amazing Grace, I love it. I played it a few times in the past, and regardless of how people may feel about music and other types of things, and then of course brother Yahya, someone who I come to know very recently as well. It's an honor just to be here, because I wanted to begin by expressing those things to you first and foremost. The youth are our legacy. That's something that I don't think that anyone should ever question. And when we reflect upon our Islamic tradition and the prophets find that when we look closely and analyze the ages of the people who were the most influential in Islamic history, we find that these are people that are very young people. That the Prophet during the conquest of Mecca, and when he left Mecca and went to Grenada, he left in charge a young man by the name of Khumasi, who had just become Muslim on the day of the conquest along with his other tribesmen, who was only 19 years old. The Prophet actually to the governor of Mecca, left him there in charge. In one battle towards the end of the Prophet's life, he placed Osama ibn Zayd, one of Mohammed, over the army, who was only 17 years old, basically the one in charge, the general of the army. That Zayd ibn Thabit was only 10 years old when the Prophet had come to Medina. And the Prophet utilized him as one of his scribes. And by the time of the Prophet's death, Zayd was around 21, 22 years old. And then a year goes by, and the Prophet calls on Zayd once again and makes him the charge of a major campaign to gather the pages of the Quran into one book. Some years later, during the reign of Mohamed also calls on Zayd once again to standardize the text of the Quran. When we look at the major hadith transmitters, that we find that Abu Hurairah was very young as well, but it was in the time of the Prophet's death, but he was one of those who had regulated the most hadith on the story of the Prophet, Abdullah as well, Aisha, Anas ibn Malek, all these were youths. These were young people. They most hadith on the authority of the Prophet. So without the youth, you can't build Islam. Without the youth, you can't preserve anything. And the youth are our legacy. It's important for us to keep that in mind as we continue the work that was started here in this country, or in at least this area, that we don't become too territorial and deny the youth access to leadership, because we have to empower the youth. We empower the youth because they are that legacy, they are our future, and they are, this is what the Prophet taught us. So, but then of course on the other hand, we know that the youth have a certain type of obligation towards the elderly as well, those who are older than them. The Prophet teaches us that that is those who not dignify the older among us, is not amongst us. Nor those who do not show compassion to the young. You don't show compassion to the young, then you're not one of us. If you don't show dignity, or if you don't dignify and honor the old, then you're not one of us as well. So there are ranks on both sides of this. And being that I come in the sense representing the college, I guess I would say that with regard to the contribution that I can make to this discussion has everything to do with education. Has everything to do with education, because as we know, without education, there is no way for us to be empowered. Without knowledge, there is no true power or influence. And when we look at some of the sciences, or let's say in general, study in general, that I'm part of an effort to establish what is called the first Muslim liberal arts college in the United States. What does that really mean? The liberal arts. And why a liberal arts education important? That in the classical, in the period of classical antiquity, in the Greco-Roman tradition or history, the liberal arts fundamentally covered 7 areas of study. 3 of those areas of studies called sort of the rational sciences, or the liberal arts, usually proper. 3 of those are overarching proper, which they refer to as the Trinity. And that was a study of grammar, logic, and rhetoric. And then there are the other four subjects we refer to as the quadrivium, which were the mathematical sciences, which are the study of things such as mathematics, geometry, music, and astronomy. Now, some of these areas are what Ibn refers to as ulum al-Yahya. Or let's say the areas of the study of Islam, not in regards to liberal science, let's say, but the areas of Islam refers to ulum al-Yahya, which are, we can say, the objective sciences, or those there are sciences or knowledges that are contingent because, or they are studied because it's believed that there's some inherent or intrinsic benefit that comes to a person from studying these things. And then there are other sciences referred to as the instrumental sciences. And these are sciences or things that we study because they aid us in understanding and unlocking the secrets of these other sciences that we were ultimately trying to take benefit from. So an example of the first type of sciences is what we call science of tafsir. The science of tafsir. What I would say, that the honor or the greatness of a science is determined by the honor and nobility and greatness of the thing that it pertains to. So the science of tafsir, it pertains to kalam Allah, the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so for that reason, it is one of the most important of all the sciences, because it's what to unlock the secrets of the words of God. And so in order to do so, you can study the science of Quranic exegesis or Quranic interpretation. So this is something sought out. You want to know what Allah has to say to us and expect from us. And then another example is the science of hadith. And so by studying the science of hadith, we seem to know what the Prophet had to say about things. And what we need to know about his life, the way he acted, what his description, his physical and behavioral description. And so that itself is a type of nobility given to that particular area as well. And then we have the fiqh, which is two different types. Which one we call fiqh, which is usually referred to as jurisprudence, because in fiqh, jurisprudence, we study what we call the ahkam, the judgments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The judgments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the fiqh is, as the Usuliyun say, is hukmullah, Allah, that is the address of God, or the address made by God, that pertains to the actions of human beings from the regard that they have been made responsible. That is to say that we learn the laws, the expectation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So with regard to the students, our salat, our zakat, all of these other issues. And then the other type of fiqh is the fiqh of which we usually refer to our virtue ethics. Our ethics, those things that we need to learn about how to purify ourselves from the inside. And then lastly, among these sciences as well, these four areas is we call Imam, we call theology. Because, and this is the most honorable, most noble of all sciences, because the subject of the science of theology, or say, Aqidah, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the honor of the science is known by the honor of the status given to the thing that it pertains to. So that is the origin of all these sciences. So these are sciences that have intrinsic benefit. Then there are other sciences that have instrumental benefit. So there are things such as, say, Arabic language. Studying Arabic language, Arabic language is the key. So in other sciences, studying arithmetic, there's studying a certain amount of arithmetic, so that we can first study the laws of inheritance in Islam. Or when someone knows about the which includes these are mathematical areas, some relate to astronomy. So we study study things that help you to determine the time, so the timekeeping. Mathematical equations, the timekeeping, or determining the template, or determining the stars and things of the month, right? So these are instrumental sciences. We only learn in another of them that will help us to unlock the secrets of the first category of sciences. And this is important in this day and age because in America and in the West and in the world, perhaps we can say now, that education is such that most people study and go to school for no other reason than to get a good job. Right? And so, for that reason, we will seek out those types of employment, those areas of employment that help us to get the highest paid jobs. You study instrumental, you become like an engineer, right? Or something similar to that. Not to say it's not important, that is important. Medicine is very important. It's very important type of science. But the thing that differentiates a proper Islamic education from what we call secular education is that in Islamic education there's an emphasis on knowing what you're studying and why you're studying. Try to connect the thing that you study with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Try to see how does Allah connect with this? How does He pertain to the sciences? For this reason, when you study the Islamic sciences, you learn what is called the Mabrouk. It's sort of the 10 introductory elements of various sciences. You study things such as what is the definition of the science, the heavens. You study things such as who is the founder of the science, what is the ruling of studying the science. Is it compulsory? Is it a new obligation? An introductory obligation? What is the benefit of studying the science? What is the aim of studying the science? Right? The body, the color. There are a number of different things that are at the very spot of anything that we study. So we have to, when we study things, we try to find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in what we do. That what does Allah see for me when I do these things as well? Is where society is right now, is that people have forgotten the aim of their studies. And most importantly, and I'll end with this couple of examples, is that most importantly that we have lost the critical faculty that is necessary to evaluate life anymore. We've sort of lost that most of us who immigrated to America came here, to increase or improve our livelihoods. Which is nothing, there's nothing wrong with that. Most people immigrate to that, that's the reason why they do it. How do you do it? I don't know all of them, as some scholars say, that people make Israel, in flight or something, right? Or in search for something. And so in the midst of this search, what has happened with many of us is that we consider the study of things such as history, of politics, in particular American history, and politics in America, the humanities, study of the humanities. We neglected these things because we got what we get to America for, benefit from America, and we don't really need to know these things. You don't need to know about American racism. You don't need to know anything about what's happening right now. I'm glad that many more of us are waking up to understand the importance of this. But when we study the liberal arts, they give us this critical faculty that's necessary. And it's just this example that I'll leave you with is that, just to show you what I mean by this. Not very long ago, early this year, in Afghanistan, there was a report that a soldier, a staff sergeant, American staff sergeant, had gone to the village and killed about 11 Afghans. And the official story in America was that there were about 11, that it was a sort of a rogue act. When people came back, they were back to still working. And nobody really noticed it until then, or hoping. And that was a true story. And in my class in the science I did this is one thing I have to share with my students. So I saw these footage of reports of America, and let's ask them the question. I said, well, where's the voice of this soul in this? Who's speaking on this behalf? Can you really rely on the source, for regard to the narrative? So this attorney was speaking on behalf. One of the things that the attorney stated that he said was that he was following orders. But the official story of America is that this man, he just went crazy because, he got his foot chopped off with hold on, and he lost one of the strings he made earlier, and then he just lost it. He had the number of words and he just lost it. But then he turned to Australia to broadcast, and again, this is again, the Australia was broadcasting is now giving eyewitness accounts of survivors, and these are eyewitness accounts of the children, Afghan children, and other people who were saying that it wasn't only one person, one soldier. There were a lot of soldiers who were there, and so the critical faculty that you gain through this type of study is that you learn to question things, you learn to question things, you learn to ask the right kind of questions, so that you're not easily manipulated. And that is something we need more of, inshallah, today. So hopefully I didn't go too far and take too much time for that. I'm hoping that's a good thing for that, and I hope that there's plenty of time for everyone else here to speak. So we ask Allah that to get benefit when there is, and if there is something that will benefit all for me, and if it's not from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I don't know if we can shut that.
I want to thank Brother Ustadh Abdullah for that enlightening speech. Halfway through the talk, I just couldn't stop thinking for it because I was so reflecting on that sentence. Our next speaker here is Brother Malek Bendelhoum, who's a personal role model to have Riverside, California, and pretty much all of California and the rest of the world. He has a group in Riverside who follows him around and takes notes on after everything he does. And his nickname is actually the Khalifa, so inshallah. He's our next speaker. He's going to be speaking on dealing with youth and counseling the youth. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. SubhanAllah, I have so many mixed emotions. One from sitting on this table with people I have deep respect for, and some of my teachers here. It's honestly an honor, and kind of it makes me feel like I shouldn't be speaking when I'm surrounded by all these people. They should be the ones speaking. And then SubhanAllah, the words of our boss. I don't even know what to say. SubhanAllah, like he said earlier, for those of you that don't know me, Alhamdulillah, that's a blessing. That's what it came to Pakistan. Alhamdulillah, that's a blessing. Getting to the topic I was given was building our youth, empowering our youth. And SubhanAllah, listening to my Shaykh, his talk, he covered a lot of what I need to say. And not too much that I need to say. That the youth are the next step. We're the ones that are going to take it to the next step, inshallah ta'ala. And we're the ones carrying the banner. And we need to be empowered in all of these things. But, so I'm not going to go over all that. I'm going to get into my But I'm going to go a step before that, inshallah. Before we talk about the youth being empowered and all these other things, I want to take a step back first. First and foremost, we know that as Muslims, not only youth, all of us, we need one another. I need you, you need me to move forward. In Surah Al-Fatiha, every day, at least 17 times a day, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim, guide us to the straight path. Not guide me to the straight path, but guide us to the straight path. And in Surah Al-Quran, chapter number 49, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, that verily the believers are brothers. Right? So this shows Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that we need one one another. And when we're talking about building a community, we always look to the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where they have the best of words. But then we look to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And it's Sahih hadith narrated in Bukhari and Muslim. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says that the Muslim, the believer, to another believer is that of like a building. Where to one another, they're like the structure of the building. They support one another. So we're talking about building, right? We're talking about building our community. So to one another, we need to strengthen one another. I should be strengthening you. You should be strengthening me. This is the first thing we have to keep in mind before that. The second thing, before I get into it, is that when we're talking about empowering the youth, kind of when you get this, you feel more of a kind of a general sense. In other words, collectively, all of us, trying to empower us all, not just singular in a singular sense. But subhanAllah, before we get to the communal sense, we have to come from the singular sense, from me. And Allah, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not change the situation of a people, of a community, until what? They change themselves. So this begs a very important question. Before we talk about empowering ourselves, before we take a step further and going into doing stuff, we have to change ourselves. We have to better ourselves. How do we do this? Through education, that we should have talked about. So I don't even need to go into this. But something else that's very important that we never talk about, subhanAllah, is something that was mentioned in the Quran. Mentioned in Surah Malek, chapter number 5 and verse number 20, where Sayyidina Musa is talking to his people. And Allah Sayyidina Musa is saying that, my people, remember all the favors that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us. Right? Think of all the good things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enabled all of us to be in this room with heritage. Alhamdulillah, this is a ni'mah. We have to be thankful for this. So let's remember all of the favors that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. And then he said that he has made from amongst you prophets, from amongst you messengers, and kings, and gave you what had not been given to the people before you. So he's specifically talking about the Israel, that they were given, remember, they were given blessings that people from before didn't have. And subhanAllah, this can relate to us now. There's so many blessings that we have today. The blessings of an air conditioner. SubhanAllah, one comes out that didn't have this. There are blessings that we have today that we don't have. So we have to remember this. Always keep this in mind. Self-reflection. We always have to reflect within ourselves. Then, Sayyidina Musa tells them, O my people, enter into the holy land, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has assigned to you. And don't turn back. Don't turn back. Don't go away. For those of you who want to go losers. So he's telling them, he's saying, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is listening. He's giving this, go, take it. If you turn back, then you're being losers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, look, you want success, you want to build your community, come towards Him. Follow this. This will get you there. This will get you there. He's giving it to us. He's telling us, go, my people. Yeah, follow. He's showing us here. Go towards success. Go towards it. And subhanAllah, look at the response of His people. And I want you guys to reflect on this, and this is what I want to spend my time on. The people said, Yahya said, that in the Holy Land are people who are exceedingly powerful. And we shall never enter until they leave it. So when they leave, we'll enter. So the people, they're saying that over there, those people are strong. You know what I mean? SubhanAllah, when we're building our community, we look at other communities and we're like, man, they're so strong, they're so good. Look at them, we can never catch up to them. We can never catch up to them. Look at them. And SubhanAllah, something very beautiful. In the Bible, this very same story is narrated. And it's narrated in a way that does not contradict the Quran, but it adds an extra element. Where the same conversation where Musa says, come to the promised land where people, you were promised, come in. And then people they say, in it are people who are exceedingly powerful. And to them, we are like grasshoppers. And we see ourselves as they see us. SubhanAllah, look, this is something very important. They said that in it, there are people that are powerful. There are people, that are on another level. So we're not going to go in. To them, they see us as grasshoppers. And we see ourselves as they see us. This begs the question, my brothers and sisters, and especially as youth, how do we see ourselves? What do we see ourselves as? When we come to the masjid and say, subhanAllah, they don't let the youth come in. They don't let the youth do anything. That's the problem. They're exceedingly powerful. They have status, they have a job, they have money, they have all of this stuff. They're exceedingly powerful, so until they're out, we're not going to come. Because they see us as grasshoppers. And we are to them as we see ourselves. So my brothers and sisters, how do we see ourselves? And specifically as youth, how do we see ourselves? Do we see ourselves as, man, I'm 17, what do I have? The masjid, they're asking for money, I can't give you money. So subhanAllah, give what you can. Never a little act of giving. You can give your time. You can give your voice. You have the strength in your legs. Go out there and do work. You can do work. Go out there and do it. Do whatever you can. And any way you can, do it. And subhanAllah, it doesn't matter how young you are. So we have this dynamic, we have this problem in our community where we say, subhanAllah, man, I'm young, whatever, that's what the older guys do. And then subhanAllah, sometimes we have the older ones, they're like, that's for the youth. They didn't handle all that stuff, right? SubhanAllah, give me an example, a very beautiful example. Let me set the stage really quick. In Mecca, in the 30 years of Mecca, the people were persecuted. The Prophet Muhammad said himself was persecuted. They weren't very good Muslims. And most of the Muslims could not practice their Islam in the open. And if they did, they were tortured. So a lot of people, they actually practice Islam in secret. And the place, the area that allowed them to practice Islam in secret was a very famous house by the name of Abdullah. All of us have heard of this place, right? Everyone has heard of this. It's very famous. SubhanAllah, what a lot of us don't know, and what a lot of us youth don't even know, the person whose house this was, his name was Abdullah. Very beautiful person. And subhanAllah, if you go to his lineage, it's even more beautiful. A lot of people are like, okay, the whole Mecca, the whole nation were all out the box. How did they not find this house? It was one house. How could they not find out who it was? SubhanAllah, look at their mindset. The Prophet Muhammad was from Bendelhoum, one of the tribes. Abdullah was from another tribe that feuded with the Hashims. They feuded with each other. So basically, they were like, look, they had that tribalistic mentality. They were like, look, these guys have beef. The families have beef. They'll never work together. They'll never come together. So they never even crossed their mind. They never even checked the house of Abdullah. They never checked his house. Because they said, you know what? His tribe, they'll never come together. They'll never work together. SubhanAllah, going back to Abdullah himself, the beautiful thing about him, when he came to Islam, he said, I want to do something. I need to do something. So what did he do? He offered his house to the Muslims who couldn't go outwardly and practice Islam. He offered it to them because that's what he said. This is what I have, I'm going to give it. The narration said that he had a huge house, big house at that time. So it would accommodate all these people coming in. The reason why I bring this up, and the beautiful thing about this, Allah, we didn't have it out. Some of the narrations say, when he gave his house for the Muslims to come and study it, some of the narrations say he was 17 years old. He was 17 years old. He said, I'm going to give whatever I can give. I'm not going to sit here and say, you know what? So these older guys, they're more established, they have houses, they can give it. No! He said, what I can give, that's what I'm going to give. He didn't wait for someone else to come and give it. He said, this is what I can give, I'm going to give it. And he did. And because of this, the Muslims have learned about Islam. Because they weren't able to outside. They were persecuted. SubhanAllah. And this is a very young man coming, not older than us here, coming and doing and giving what he could. Then, SubhanAllah, another dynamic that we have amongst the youth, when we get older and we graduate, we kind of have this saying, okay, I was involved in unsaved connection when I was in school. After school. That's a different story, right? No, I remember the kids came around, Sheriff, they'll handle that. The guys that are still in school, let's say brothers and sisters, they'll handle that. many of you have heard of a man named Mohammed? How many of you have heard of him? If there's anyone here who hasn't heard of him, raise their hand. None of you. Everyone. If any of you haven't heard, this is a problem. This man spread his son. The Prophet Muhammad made dua. And he made dua to Allah. He said, Allah, give us the izzah through one of two people. And one of the verses that he mentioned was Umar ibn Khattab. And we all know the story of Umar ibn Khattab when he became Muslim, so I'm not going to narrate it. But we know the story when he became Muslim. And we know he was a very strong person, very strong personality. Right? He did what he could. He didn't wait for someone else to do it. He did what he could. He stood up when he needed to. And how he needed to in whatever way he could. Now, subhanAllah, something very beautiful. Remember I said about the whole age difference, we have the older guy, the young guy, the young guy, the older guy, right? SubhanAllah, something very beautiful. In the house, in Malek, a very beautiful story happened. Mary and Muslim where Umar ibn Khattab, he was anxious. He was a little mad. He said, Ya Rasulullah, are we not Muslim? Do we not have izzah? Do we not have honor? Do we not have dignity? Why do we hide in this house and not go outside and pray, be proud in front of everyone? Why do we carry our Islam in front of everyone? Why are we afraid? So at this time, another person, actually some narrations say a few months before this, Hamid, the uncle of Prophet Muhammad, we all know the story of Hamid, we all know the strength of Hamid. He was older than us. And he was older than us. He became Muslim. And in the house of this youth that gave his house and said, this is what I can give. Umar ibn Khattab, another youth who was a little older. And he said, no, this isn't the young guy. We have honor, we have dignity, we should not hide. Let's go outside and let's show our Islam. So at this point, 2 lines from the house of Abdullah led out to the Kaaba. The first one led by Umar ibn Khattab. The second one by Hamid, the uncle of the Prophet Muhammad. What am I getting out of all of this? Bring it all back together. When it comes down to it, how do we see ourselves? What do we see? Do we know what we can do? Any and every one of us can do and can give something. If we don't have the cash, alhamdulillah, you have your time. If you don't have your time, you have your mouth. If you don't have your mouth, alhamdulillah, you have your time. Send out an email, tell people about the message you tell me, clean up the message day. Text them, call them, something. Do anything you can. Whatever it is you can do it. No matter how young, no matter how old you are. Because when it comes down to building a community, first and foremost, we must work on ourselves. And how are we going to build a community? How can we take the material and build a building if we do not support each other? Like the hadith that I mentioned in the beginning. Each one of us strengthens one another. We strengthen ourselves, which in turn strengthens us all. And the only way that we will be successful, and I will end with this, we look at the most successful people, the most successful community in history, the community of the Prophet Muhammad. What was the thing that the first thing that he did? He took one of the people from the Ustadh with them and he put them together. Put this in perspective right now. Who are the Muhammadun? Our parents that immigrated from wherever they came from. And the Ansar, the leaders, the ones who grew up there, who went to school here, came back to Islam from here, they know it. Come together. But when we support one another, this is how we will strengthen ourselves, one another, and be able to build our community. If I said anything right, it's on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if I said anything wrong, it's on me and my shortcomings, I turn over to the shaitan. اللهم انا نحن وزوج الاتباع ولا نراقب الرابط ولا نراقب الشهاده ولا نراقب الرابط the video. Thank you, Brother Mabrouk, for that enlightening lecture on the youth. And moving on to the program, right before we move on, actually, there's 3 papers passed around everywhere to write down your questions. So at the end of the speaking session, we're going to have a Q&A. So just in case you have some questions right now, you can go ahead and write it down before we move on. And our next speaker is Imam Mohamed Mabrouk, who's the Imam of, I think, Islamic Center in Temecula Valley. And he actually is, and he's 21 years old. And Are we talking?
When you want to order Imam, where else can I get?
Before we said he's 21 years old, and to be a 21-year-old Imam, you have to be highly qualified. And this man is highly qualified to be Imam. And he'll be speaking on the subject of what divides a community and how to unite it. And are you Imam?
Before I started, I want to thank the community for accepting me. I was actually a nomad before I came here. Vegas, Miami, Detroit, so when I came here, a lot of the community took me as if I was their own child. So I really appreciate trusting me and allowing me to lead your brothers and sisters. That's a lot better. Now, my topic is what divides a community. And I want to focus on one hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this one statement that he made is enough to set us all straight. It's enough to set us all straight. يقول رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بحسب امرأة من الشر أن يحضر أخاه المسلم. It is evil enough to hold your Muslim brother or sister in contempt. It is evil enough to hold your Muslim brother and sister in contempt, meaning to despise your Muslim brother and sister. Just having a negative thought about your Muslim brother and sister is evil enough than trying to harm them. It is evil enough than trying to backbite about them. And look at what Rasulullah said, what falls under this category. Before he made the statement, look what he said that we all do one another. He said that Rasulullah was narrated by Abu Hurairah, and it's mentioned in Muslim Bukhari. He says, لا تحاسدوا. He says, do not envy one another. Nowadays we hate to see that our Muslim brothers do better than us. Nowadays we hate to see that our Muslim brothers making a little bit more money than us. Nowadays we hate to see that our Muslim brothers driving a Ferrari. But nowadays we hate to see that Muslim brothers driving a better car than us. So he goes on by saying, لا تحاسدوا, do not envy one another. And then he goes on by saying, لا تناجشوا. He goes, do not inflate prices on one another. Look at the status. This should be enough to explain to you the status of your Muslim brother. Just by him saying, do not inflate the prices on your Muslim brother, what is that telling you on how you're supposed to deal with your Muslim brother outside of dealings in the marketplace? He goes on by saying, لا تباغضوا. He says, do not turn away from one another. Do not hate one another. Nowadays, when a Muslim brother looks at us the wrong way, he eyes us down, that's it, we get in a fight for him. And all of a sudden become gangsters. Excuse me? What did you say? Brother. It's your Muslim brother. Rasulullah says, you don't even inflict prices on one another. You're going to get mad about a Muslim brother just looking at you the wrong way? Or a Muslim sister or brother says something bad about you and say, ready to go up your hands and go shoulders? It don't work that way. Rasulullah goes on by saying, he says, he says, do not undercut one another. Do not belittle one another. Nowadays, so young, that's kind of issue. You know how many times I've heard that? When in fact, we have to empower you, just like what the Malek eloquently mentioned. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warned him. Rasulullah goes off by saying, وَكُونُوا, he paused. After he said وَكُونُوا, he said وَكُونُوا عِبَادَ اللَّهِ. He said, oh, worshippers of Allah. Al-Muslim wa Muslim. The Muslim brother, the Muslims are brothers to one another. You see, he didn't say Al-Muslim wa Khalil Muslim. He didn't say the Muslim is the friend of a Muslim. They are all friends. He said, but a Muslim is the brother of a Muslim. Is the Muslim sister the sister of another Muslim? Look, would you, just ask yourself this question, the way you treat your Muslim brother, would you do that to your own blood? Would you? Rasulullah goes on by saying, لا يظلمه. He will never oppress his Muslim brother. Never oppress his Muslim brother. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَظْلِمُ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never show injustice to a single atom. Who are we to show injustice to one another? وَمَا رَبُّكَ بِظَلَّامٍ لِلْعَبِيدِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never show injustice to his own worship. Who are we to show injustice to one another? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Hadith Qudsi, إِنِّي حَرَّمْتُ الظُّلْمَ عَلَى نَفْسِي وَجَعَلْتُهُ بَيْنَكُمْ مُحَرَّمًا فَلَا تَظَالَمُوا. Look at the statement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This should be enough. This should be enough to wake us up. Seriously, this should be enough for you to wake us up. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, I made dhulm, I made oppression haram on myself. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَجَعَلْتُهُ بَيْنَكُمْ مُحَرَّمًا فَلَا تَظَالَمُوا. And I made it haram for you to practice amongst one another, so do not oppress one another. But nowadays we're so quick to belittle one another because the stats. Oh, this brother's from Bangladesh. Okay, yeah, whatever. This brother's from Sudan. Oh, your brother's from nothing. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying an example. No disrespect to Sudan, but you can have respect. I have respect.
I'm not Indian, man.
I have respect.
Become the Indians, man. Oh my.
I have respect. But nowadays we belittle one another just because where we're from. We oppress one another just because where we're from. Or just because the status of your Muslim brother. Oh, I'm a doctor, Saab. I don't have to, this dollar store Saab, whatever. I don't even know if you guys call them that. They work this way. Look down upon one of them. Or this guy is a janitor Saab, or whatever Saab he is, so you look down upon them. That's what Allah saying. I make dhulm, I make oppression haram on myself, so don't practice it amongst yourself. This statement should be enough to self-culture. But he doesn't stop there. Rasulullah goes, لا يحذره. Rasulullah goes, the Muslim brother never lets down his own Muslim brother. You see a Muslim brother slipping, you gotta help him up. You see a sister slipping, look sister, you need to straighten up the act. And that applies for all of us. You see a Muslim brother that needs help in the street, you go over brother and say, well, I can give you assistance. And this is the way we build the mahabba. This is the way we build the unity. Once we build this unity, not only will the community flourish, but the ummah will flourish. But Rasulullah didn't stop there. He goes on by saying, وَلَا يَكْذِبُ. And a Muslim brother and sister never lies to one another. Nowadays we're so quick to make up a lie just to get out of a situation. Brother, we need you to come in and bring some volunteers and powers at the message. All of a sudden the brother has his water glass in his hand. All of a sudden the brother has a basketball tournament he has to attend to. Or the sister has a cooking class she has to go to. Or a bake sale, or whatever it is that the sisters do. We can't be lying to one another if we want to help one another. Rasulullah goes on by saying, and this is coming back to the statement I mentioned in the beginning. You see, all these acts, if we better all these acts, not only will we better our community, not only will our community flourish, but the whole ummah will flourish. And he goes on by saying, Rasulullah says, okay, forget these acts. Forget these acts about, oppressing one another, about lying to one another, about belittling one another, about envying one another, about undercutting one another, about playing places about one another in the marketplace. He goes on by saying, coming back to the statement I mentioned earlier, he said it is evil enough to hold your Muslim brother in contempt, meaning to think ill thoughts about your Muslim brother. He said, forget committing an act about him. Forget committing the act. Just think something bad about your Muslim brother. This is evil enough. And he goes on by saying, كل المسلم على مسلم حرام دمه وعرضه وماله. Rasulullah goes on by saying, every Muslim, your Muslim brother is invaluable to you. You can't put a price on your Muslim brother. You can't belittle him just because he's from a different country, from whatever job occupation he has. Or because he has a big beard or a small beard, because she wears this color hijab, she wears that color hijab, so you just start hating on her. Come on, seriously? Rasulullah goes on by saying, Demluhu is money, his blood, Wamaluhu is money, Wa'ilhu, and his self-person. And we're so quick to belittle one another. But wallahi, if you knew the value, what good deeds your Muslim brother can bring you, you would hasten to help your Muslim brother. And I will end with this. يقول رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من نفس عن مؤمن كربة من كرب يوم الدنيا بكرب الدنيا نفس الله عليه كربة من كرب يوم الآخرة. Look at how much benefit, look at how much reward you get just for helping your Muslim brother. If you see a Muslim brother reading about some sort of situation, if you see a Muslim brother who doesn't have the money to take care of the situation, and you help him, and you're able to remove this grief from him, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said He will remove a grief from you, He will remove a grief that you will be from the day of judgment. Meaning on the day of judgment, and just look at it, just to remind you, brothers and sisters, about the day of judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says on that day, He will not care about your mother, your father, your daughter, your son, your aunt, your uncle, your niece, your nephew. You'll be running around naked. You'll be drowning in your own sweat. Think about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removing all this from you just because you gave a Muslim brother $10 because he was in the middle. Just because you gave a Muslim brother a rock where he needed to be at. Just because you gave a Muslim brother some food because he was hungry. Such a simple act holds such a big action in front of the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Rasulullah goes on by saying, he said, وَمَنْ يَسَّرْ عَلَى مُعَسِّرٍ يَسَّرَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ. And whoever raises the lot of a Muslim brother, makes and eats something easy for him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make things easy for him in this dunya, but not in this dunya, but also in the akhirah. Look at just by helping your Muslim brothers. And Rasulullah goes on by saying, وَمَنْ سَطَرَ مُسْلِمًا سَطَرَهُ اللَّهُ فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ. And whoever covers up for a Muslim, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will cover up for him in the akhirah. If you see a Muslim brother spitting game, you better, you're not spitting game. He's doing something, he's giving a sister directions. If you see a sister talking to a brother, she's not talking to him. She's just explaining something to him. Ali radiallahu anhu said, give your Muslim brother 70 excuses. 70 excuses. And if you find 70, give him 70 more. And if you find 70, give him 70 more. And if you find that many, then you got problems. Seriously. If you find that many, I can't, meaning always give your Muslim brother an excuse. Never think such bad ill thoughts about your Muslim brother. And Rasulullah with this, Rasulullah goes on by saying, وَاللَّهُ فِي عَوْنِ الْعِبَادِ مَا كَانَ الْعَبْدُ فِي عَوْنِ أَخِيهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send the Nusra. He will send the help so long that the Muslim brothers and sisters are helping one another. How do you expect Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send down the Nusra, to send down the help, when we can't even come together? When we, as a ummah, when we can't even help one another, when we can't even put out our hand, when we can't even open our wallets to help one another, how do you expect Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send down the Nusra? So just by not even, I'll go back to what Rasulullah said. He said, بِحِسْبِ مُرَأَةٍ الشَّرْءِ أَنْ يَقْدِرَ أَقَامُ. It is evil enough to think little thoughts about your Muslim brother. And if you think about it, once we start thinking little thoughts about our Muslim brother, we start to envy him. Once we start thinking little thoughts, we start to inflate prices on him. Once we start thinking little thoughts, we start undercutting him. We start walking away from him. We start backbiting him. It all starts with a thought. But if we remove this thought and always think positive about our Muslim brother, not only will it bring benefit to you, but it will bring benefit to the ummah, bring benefit to the community, to bring benefit to the whole of Islam. So inshallah, is everybody ready for this inshallah? Inshallah. Wallahi, I just want to mention that it's an honor to be sitting amongst you brothers here and giving this talk. Wallahi, I'm extremely humble by you guys' presence. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from all of us. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to cleanse our heart. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to remove any of the thoughts that we have with one another.
Thank you, Imam Mabrouk, for that lecture on uniting our community. And our final speaker is Brother Mohamed Yahya, also known as Mohamed Baraldez. A little bit about him: he's a Muslim entrepreneur, a businessman, thinker, and a few co-founders of different industries, companies in different industries. And he owns the first and largest vegan necktie company in the world. He has a digital platform for Muslim scholars and lecturers. It's called scholarview.org. And he converted to Islam during his junior year in college. He studied nearly 4 years in Syria, Morocco, Mauritania, and the Sahara Desert with some of the most world-renowned scholars of the Muslim world. After studying abroad, he returned to the U.S. to obtain his master's in business. And he's also in a book, he has a book, no, he doesn't have a book. There's a book called All 45 American on Being Muslim. And he's honored to be among those 45 American Muslims in this book. And he'll be speaking on the topic of converting to Islam and being Muslims.
وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. You guys hear me well? Yeah? Okay. So, first off, I wanted to take note of this masjid, and I realized, why is there so many youth here? And it's a lot of it's because it's being ran by a 19-year-old, a 21-year-old, and more importantly, it's backed by the uncles that are sitting along the wall. Because you guys are present, no, I'm serious. Because you all are present in support of the youngsters, you will see, inshallah, the khair that comes from this community. You will see that. The support that you show them here, inshallah, you'll see a lot of khair. So, my topic is new Muslims and how to deal with them. I'm going to start off by reading some information that was actually a bit troubled me. I gave a talk a couple of days ago and came across this information. According to the Gallup Center in 2009, Muslims ages 18 to 28 are the least happy and are the angriest comparing to the same age youth of other faiths. 95% of Muslim youth do not go to the masjid at all. 30% of them don't even use their Muslim name. Mo, Mike. And 46% of the college-going Muslims drink alcohol. Okay, that's 5 out of 10. When you see a Muslim, 5 out of 10 are probably drinking alcohol. So we have to understand why do the Muslims, there's during Tarawih and during Ramadan, that's probably this is packed, right? This is, yeah. Why do the youth, why don't they want to come here? Or why do Muslims who are not really practicing, why don't they want to come here? You know why? Because they're going to be judged. People are going to look at them. Oh, a little bit of her hair is showing. Oh, why isn't she not wearing hijab? Oh, that brother, he doesn't have a beard. Why? Why do we do this? We should want our brothers and sisters to come here. But because we're so righteous and we're so good, we like to push everyone away. I'll just give you a little bit of my story just so you know where I'm coming from. I converted more than 10 years ago. When I converted to Islam, I became very, very extreme. To the point that my parents kicked me out of my home. Before Islam, drugs, women, guns, We did it all. When I became, so we were very extreme in Jahiliyyah, then we became Muslim and we became very extreme in Islam. When I took Shahada, after I took Shahada, my best friend took Shahada. Then his friend, then his cousin, then it just, all of us became Muslim. When I became Muslim, I became so extreme that my parents kicked me out. They said, you want to be, last week we were just doing drugs and bringing random women home, now you want to tell us we're going to hell? Get out of here. This was in Las Vegas. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. When my father kicked me out, I grabbed my Yusuf Ali Quran. I walked to the airport, 3 hours away from the Las Vegas Strip. I walked to the airport 3 hours, 2 o'clock in the morning, crying, reading Surah Al-Baqarah, saying my parents will go to hell anyways because they're Catholics. I have to hop. And I walked the whole way to the airport crying because I'm a hop. After studying and all that, I'm happy to say that my whole entire family is now Muslim. Oh, big. Big. And I remember when I first became Muslim and I came back home after being kicked out. It was a Friday night. I was washing the dishes and my mom was looking at me. She was sitting in the living room like, why are you here? It's Friday night. You used to be gone from Thursday night to Sunday. I was gone. You couldn't find me. We were hanging out. And I said, it's because I'm Muslim now and I'm trying to change. She's like, oh yeah? I said, well, heaven's at your feet. And if I want to get to heaven, I got to do things you want me to do. And after a time, my first birthday came. And I was very extreme, but I said, on my first birthday, what I'm going to do, on my birthday, I woke up after I did subuh. Went to my mom and dad, woke them up, bent down, was at face to face with her, and I said, happy birthday, Mom. And I gave her $200. And she was so moved. And she said, but it's your birthday, it's not our birthday. It's not my birthday. I said, but about 21 years ago, you were the one that did all the work. I didn't do anything. Why do I get gifts on my birthday? You're the one who's supposed to get gifts. And when I went to Syria, that's why my mom took Shahada. I wasn't even here when my mom took Shahada. I was overseas. That's a proof that Allah had Allah's the guide. And when I came back, that's when I was able to give Shahada to all, my family, my cousins, and from there it's like my friends, all of their families became Muslim. So my friends, their parents, their brothers, cousins, sisters, everyone started taking Shahada. So when dealing with new Muslims, and I think we must stress this, when we say new Muslims, it's not only to converts. Because I'm going to ask a rhetorical question. How many of you came from Lahore, from Karachi, from Qahira, from Dalbida, and we're practicing? How many of you just started practicing 5 years ago? That's a new Muslim. And just because we see people having a hard time, we're all having a hard time. If you see a brother and he's hanging out with some, look at yourself. Who are you? Don't look at others as if you're a lord, but look at yourself as if you're a slave. And think about that, even if you understood the value of being an outlaw. If you really thought about that I'm an Abdullah, and some of the brother said you can't even claim that station. Because what does an abd do? A servant serves. What do you do 23 hours a day? You're probably not serving Allah. So when you see another Muslim struggling and having a hard time, the brother's gambling, the brother has a girlfriend, the brother's not praying, let us. We were all there. Some of us never prayed. When you came from Lahore, did you come here because I'm going to come to America to do dawah? Or did you come here? I'm going to get a degree, and the lifestyle that I came from, the idillah, my children will never ever have to see that, and experience that. May Allah bless you all. But we all must recognize that as good Muslims, whether you're a convert, whether you're a person that's just struggling with Islam, the masjid should be a place that you should want to be welcome here. You should want to come here, and you should want to feel that, you know, I'm in a good place. What's this amount? They're the least and happy and the angriest of all the different religious groups. Our teenagers from 18 to 28 are the least happy. Why? We have to think about this. We have to rethink the way that you can't copy and paste Lahore. Copy and paste Alexandria. You can't copy and paste Josiah. Just because my kid doesn't want to eat naan biryani, he wants to eat hamburgers, my God, he's not going to be a good Muslim. You have to understand that the best you can do is raise a Muslim in America as an American Muslim. Let it go. Because he doesn't want to be Sudani, because he doesn't want to wear the fire, because that best. You've made your decision to live here in this country. Accept that. If your kids want to wear Abercrombie and Fitch, they want to wear Hollister, understand you made that choice. Don't be mad at them. They didn't ask to come to America. And for the converts, I remember I used to come to the masjid, and I used to give salams because I used to always, I want to spread salam. I want to live by the hadith. I used to go and pass by all the uncles, Assalamu alaikum. And they would look at me like, you know how many times I did not get salam back? Probably because I was pushed with salam. I was saying something else, but a lot of them looked at me like, why are you talking to me? Who are you to talk to me? And it really, really bothered me. That I would go and I would meet all this vast array of just different people, uncles, and I say, Assalamu alaikum, and they just look at me like, I don't know you, why are you giving me salam? This is not what I read in the pamphlet. When I became Muslim, I envisioned all kinds of beautiful things. Then I saw the reality. Yusuf Islam, we all know, Cat Stevens, he said, if I would have met Muslims before I took Shahada, I would not become Muslim. That's a sad statement. That is a very sad statement. All of our neighbors around this building, all of your friends who are not praying, you know why they don't come to the masjid? Because the masjid is not cool. Because the masjid is not hip. And should you be mad? That you go to Muslims and say that everything's haram, bid'ah, shirk. My relationship to Islam growing up, Habibi, when I was 13 years old, everything was haram, bid'ah, shirk. And when mom and Baba said, inshallah, that meant no. Are we going to go and say that, inshallah? Okay, no. There was one kid who said, Mama, I like Santa Claus more than I like Allah. The mother was like, oh my, she said, stop for the law. What are you talking about? And he said, Mama, Santa Claus, when he comes through, he gifts. But Allah, because of how I am, I'm only going to go to Jahannam. You think about how that child was presented Islam. Me and Jahiliyyah, when we became Muslim, I come from a hip-hop generation. During the 1990s, it really, really talked about positive hip-hop. I come from that generation where when we became Muslim, it was like stripes. We could walk the little down Muslim, all the mess with the Muslim, maybe some bad dudes. Why? Because the Muslims lived the Quran and the Sunnah. Probably too extreme, that's a whole other topic. But the non-Muslims know that those are very respectable people. They don't engage in activities we engage in. But once we start messing around and goofing off, that's when we're going to lose our respect. And when you're around brothers and sisters who start having to go like this in Islam, God, no, I really like him. I know he's not Muslim, but he's such a cutie. You look like Justin Bieber. Have you seen that? He does, bro. You know? I mean, if you're a sister that's in that, don't judge. Don't judge. It's funny, man, because Khumasi, everyone knows Khumasi here? It's funny, man, Khumasi, we were on university campus. Khumasi's Barakallah, even in Yahya, everyone. He came up to me and he said, it's not like, you know, I'm tired, buddy, who are you? You know? He said, you Muslim? I said, yeah, I'm Muslim. This is when we're in our college, we say everything was taking shahada. So we're just like, yeah, we're going to get shahada to everyone. He said, are you Muslim? I said, yeah. I said, you can ask me a couple of questions? So we started talking. After about 5-10 minutes, then Khumasi said, you got to do something for me. I said, what's that? You got to teach me how to pray. I said, okay, but you got to do something for me. He said, what's that? You got to bear witness that there's only one God. He said, oh, come on, man. He started rolling on the ground like, oh, man, you can't do that to me, man. You can't do that to me. I said, look, man, come to the masjid tonight, bring your appetite. That's all I'm asking you to bring. Bring your appetite. Come to the masjid, we'll kicking, all the brothers want to hang out, we got food, just kick. Alhamdulillah, shukran, shahada. We're all humans. We're all struggling. We're all having difficult times. Some of us are converts and we don't know Islam. Some of us came back to Islam after not practicing for all of our lives. And the Islam that we have is a cultural Islam. So we must understand that everyone here is having a hard time. Every single one of us is having a hard time. Henry David Thoreau said, everyone is living in a quiet desperation. So when you see your brother and sister struggling, help them out. If they're a new convert, we're so happy. But realize, for everyone that's becoming Muslim, there are 10 leaving the back door. And we need to be concerned with that. So with the kids that are coming here, empower them, uncles, aunties, empower them. Make them feel happy to be Muslim. Help them to feel confident. I'm going to end with this. One parent asked me, she said, should we have halaqas? My kids are like, should we have halaqas? I was at 7 years old. I'm not going to go. If I was 7 years old, you're telling me about a halaqa? I'd hate whatever you're telling me. Because I want to go, I want to run in the sun. I want to hang out at the beach. I want to play with my toys. My kids, all these 2-3-year-olds want to grab the phone and play with your phone. You know why they all want to grab your phone? Because that's all they see you do. That's why pediatricians and child psychologists say if you want your children to play with their toys with them. And a lot of them, here's your toy, they play. You know what the kids are doing when you give them a toy to play with? What are they doing? They play with a box. Because they don't even know how to play with a toy, you just give them a toy, go. It's not a war. You have to be active in the upbringing of the converts. You have to be active in just making everyone feel welcome in the house of Allah Ta'ala. Everyone should be like, man, I'm happy to go into the house of Allah. I don't hang out around because I'm immersed in a lot of duties, so when I see Muslims, I just get happy. In my head, in my heart, I'm like, I'm with my people. And I wish all of you can feel that. Because subhanAllah, Allah knows my heart. When I'm with Muslims, I'm like, this is my people. No matter how dysfunctional and crazy we are, it's my people. And I'm happy to be around my people. And we should all want that for each other. We should all want to feel welcome. And we should all, for the people that are struggling out there, make dua for yourselves, make dua for them, make dua for everyone. And inshallah, you know that Allah Ta'ala always guides us on the straight path. And that Allah has us meet Him in the best of states, where we're drinking from the blessed hand of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that we can live together forever happiness together. Islam.
Brother Mohammed for that emotional lecture on dealing with converts and being Muslim through who we are without even knowing. I was blown away when he said that. Before we move on to the Q&A session, any questions? Raise your hand if you don't have a piece of paper, write down your questions. And before we move on to the Q&A, we're going to have a little Khumasi talk about raising funds for the youth.
Salam.
I want the brother to introduce myself as well as the youth. Inshallah, we're going to talk about what we like to.
Salam.
This masjid has been here for 10 years. Not only this year, this many youth has come together. This many youth have come together, and with the help of other Khumasi, we've made these shirts. And these shirts, and we're representing ourselves in our schools and outside anywhere. We're trying our best because our role models, all the men out here, you guys are our role models. If you guys aren't helping us out, how are we supposed to help you guys out? We're the next leaders. Pass on the torch. Your time's up. It's hard.
And now lastly, I'd like to call anybody who wants to come up and give an example of the benefit of one of the t-shirts at high school or anywhere around. Anybody put it up to that? Anybody? Come on up. I see you coming. Whoever's coming, come say it. Sorry, I moved you over the mic. Don't do it. All right. Sorry, don't do it. That's all right. You talk about one of the t-shirts at school, and you probably say, feedback in my mind.
We have the five codes that we follow in our youth group. And most of them are pretty self-explanatory. And then the middle one right here, G code, everyone who sees my shirt, they come up and ask me, what is a G code? And the G code is basically the girl and guy code. And it's how it's identical to youth. It's how we act with others, with elders and respectful. Like someone, like for example, if someone needs to go through the door, we hold the door, let them go first. If someone is hungry, we give them food. We always try to be respectful and have the right to have the youth.
Alaikum salam.
This shirt, let's help our youth along. This shirt means a lot to us. Because when I wear it, I feel like a Muslim. Muslim youth. And I'm proud to say I'm a Muslim youth.
Dude, these shirts, I mean, it couldn't be more obvious that you're Muslim out there. Like, no, there's no mistake here. Like you said, Muslim giant right there. They won't miss it. They won't miss it.
A lot of work with all, man, I feel like a beautiful job. Like every time you do like this and better with you and you giving the community power, inshallah. My name is Khumasi. I'm from California. I want to say mistake. Brother Mohamed, Yahya, Shawadas, and mashallah. It's been a great journey. I'm very thankful to be Muslim. It's a lot of work to be done. Inshallah, God, He, God, inshallah. I hope you guys understand this stuff. I contemplate life, how to get to paradise, and what can it be like? Thank God for my eyes. But I'm not thankful enough. I can give a bunch of stuff. To be chosen must be tough. Diamond in the rough.
Put my head on the floor and my eyes closed. Imagine what's the clothes open and not go wild party. Nobody starving, everybody praising. Happy that we made it. My kill is my favorite. Everybody praise him. Maybe some frustrations. Then I let you slide. Allow us to find them. Some people are blind and protect us from that war. Now, answer. It's my school. What the heck we fight for? War is an eyesore. Boy, if I was sore, couldn't even fathom. I would catch my wind, and just travel. Fist in my air, atmosphere in my hair, amazing grace. If I could see your face, how beautiful. That's a song entitled Amazing Grace. And I wrote that verse, and the song is inspired by Allah. Allah allowed me to be emotional writing the song, and when it came time to record it, I recorded it for myself at a brother named Hamid's home in the Bay Area. And I had recorded it over 100 times. I had to go from the recording booth to the computer and then run back in before it started. And it just took a lot of work recording that song. But a lot of musicians, that's a song that most people know most on myself. And so, it says a lot of work being done. I'm trying to raise funds for my own soul so that I can populate and become more popular so that I could do a certain amount of things. The reason why I do music in the first place is because I understand music is the voice of popular culture. A lot of people, I heard this Bloods in Somalia, and I'm from Compton, and the Blood started in Compton. I'm 2 streets away from Mabrouk Street. I'm 131st, 132nd, and then there's Mabrouk Street. So people that claim Mabrouk, Lil Wayne, and the Somalians, and people in New York, they claim the place that was created from where I'm from. My cousin's godfather, Pudding, was one of the founding members of the Mabrouk. And with that being the case, coming up in Compton, my whole situation was, I knew I had a strong bloodline. I knew that I wasn't going to be a father. I don't even know where I got this from, but Allah giving me guidance. Because at 13 years old, we was coming around in high school, and we possibly football players or whatever it is. So Allah let me know before we come back to Islam, that you're going to have to be able to tell people that you never tried weed in your life. And I was 13. And so, anytime they came around, parties or whatnot, I said, no, it's okay, because, I'm not a follower, and y'all can do that. So, I also stopped cussing in middle school. I used to play soccer, and then I would say the cuss word here and there, and Allah helped me to stop cussing just on my own in middle school. And so, my friends in high school knew that I didn't cuss, they knew I didn't like the N-word, and they knew not to pass me alcohol or weed. So I've never been drunk, I've never been high in my life, and I'm thankful for Allah. And so, I tell you this because I don't love music. I don't love singing and dancing. This is not a passion of mine. If you ask me about listening to music, I'm majority listening to salsa music. I can't understand the words, and it's something that they have a good experience in me, most of the songs, and that's what I generally listen to. But in college, I had to find myself. I knew that I wrote poetry, and I used to freestyle rap. I used to be on the tree, ask people for the topic, and I rap about the topic. So then I turned these poems into songs. And Allah allowed me to find myself. Then I came to Islam by Allah's permission, and I began to find my niche. That's why we're on that topic. I wanted to make sure that we got somewhere. That us as people, one thing that you should be inspired to do is as a Muslim find your niche. Whether you fast well, read Quran well, whatever it is, find your niche, hold on to it, inshallah, until you leave earth. keep that consistency, inshallah. Some people not good at that, they feel that need to come. So with that being the case, I want to say that. So lastly, my purpose is to be at your service. I'm a person who's at your service, and I've been grateful and benefit. I've been able to offer mission, go to Algeria, Indonesia, Tunisia, UK, and do tours sponsored by the United States State Department. And the reason why they call me and my band over remarkable current is because the United States wanted to tell these people that we like Muslims and we are not afraid of Muslims, and I know we portray them bad in the movies, but we want you to know that Muslims are our friends, and we have them in America, and this is what they look like, and we will come out and perform. So I asked myself, when I come back to my own community, I'm thinking myself, Khumasi going to be speaking at the masjid, and I just got finished performing in front of 30,000 people, but back in America where I'm from, nobody seems to know me. My sister said she came back from, she's from UK, and she went to Ghana to do a project, and she said, I didn't know about you until I got to Ghana, and when I was there, there were pictures of you, Obama, and Bob Marley. She said that you were the guy with the big afro, Obama was the guy with the big ears, and the dreadlock man was Bob Marley. She said murals, and everywhere that she went, she heard my music. She said she was in the church one time and giggled to herself because she knew that said La ilaha illallah, and they raised a great song in church. So with that being the case, I sit and ask myself, how come I can go to Ghana and a lot of people know me and I can't sit in my own community and be able to raise funds? Because I desire that Allah permits to help build a masjid. It just so happens that the city I'm from is trying to build a masjid. So what I understand is that in America, I'm trying to promote myself. The reason I promote myself is like any product, you guys don't even know that I've been to Indonesia, sponsored by the United States State Department. Hillary Clinton knows who Khumasi is. And my people in Congress